What's going on, guys? Zuko back with another Dragonflight video. We're going to talk about the recent announcement from Blizzard about the upcoming player health and enemy damage increase. It's the 25% boost that's happening in patch 10.1. I'll pause this just for a second. We can go over the actual blue post here, and then I'll go back to the footage. So this is something that actually happened at the beginning of Dragonflight. For those of you guys who don't know, there was a 40% player health and enemy damage boost at the beginning of Dragonflight. And the reason they did that was because we had such an influx of player power because of the talent trees. They gave us so much player power that, in particular, healers got really overpowered. And so they want to rein that in a little bit and just make sure that healers aren't completely broken as the game kind of progresses. So let me read it here. We've decided to increase both player stamina and enemy damage by 25% in Embers of Notherian, patch 10.1. This is very much like an adjustment that was made just before the launch of Dragonflight. When damage mitigation abilities and healing are too strong relative to player health, the only way to threaten players is to make enemy damage very high and spiky, which they don't want to do, right? They don't want to make it so that enemy damage is just like gonna one-shot people and there's no real counterplay. If healers can very quickly top off their teammates and mana isn't a limiting factor, enemies have to be tuned to have the capacity to do burst damage that kills players before healers can react. This isn't very satisfying gameplay. Increasing player health and tuning enemy ability damage appropriately gives players more time to react to incoming damage and makes it a player's choice about cooldowns and mana management to be more meaningful. Along with this change, you'll see several adjustments to hybrid healing spells and enchantments, as well as percentage-based healing spells. These things are included here. So this is interesting. They're basically saying, listen, healers are too strong. We could fix this by making all the mobs have incredibly dangerous damage thresholds where they're just going to one-shot you, but then healers can't react. So they don't want to make it so that healers can't participate in the game at all. But they don't want to have it in the situation it is right now where healers are completely busted, which in my experience, they are. I'm healing right here on my Mistweaver. This is actually an alt of mine. But like I'm doing like 40k DPS and 45k HPS right now. That is kind of insane. This is only on a plus 15, but I've done plenty on my Shaman, and my Shaman's able to pull off some pretty ridiculous damage numbers while also maintaining a lot of solid healing. When I'm just kind of doing most of it passively, I can just drop my Riptides and my healing healing rain on the ground and my healing stream totems. I can just have those three things going, and I can basically be like full healing everybody. Like I'm just topping people off with these kind of small passive heals that are going out, and I can spend the rest of my time doing damage, or in this case, like this week, reacting to explosives, which thank God explosives are going to be gone in 10.1. So I understand what Blizzard's saying here. They're like, listen, healers are very strong. Their numbers are way too high. Instead of like individually tuning every single healer, they're just going to take a shot at all enemy damage at the same time, increase enemy damage, and then also increase player health. I have a fun little paint thing that I wrote up about this. Here's what it is right here. Look at this. Look at the art here. This is incredible. So, oops. Okay, we'll zoom. Enemy damage is going up by 25%. Player health to compensate is going up by 25%. Tank healing / survivability and off healing from damage dealers, that is also going up by 25%. Okay, but healers are getting nothing. So this is a flat nerf to healers by about 25%, because now enemy damage is going to be hitting harder, so you're going to have to heal more. Player health pools are larger, so you're going to have to heal more because there's more health to actually heal, and more of that health is getting chunked now. Okay? Tanks can survive better on their own, which is a great thing, and off-healing is stronger. Now, things like Vampiric Embrace and Shaman Ancestral Guidance, Druid's Nature's Vigil, those things are going to be incredibly powerful in my thoughts going into 10.1 because they can heal a lot, which is really great. But straight up regular healers, they got nothing down here. They got a big nothing burger. So they're going to have to try a lot harder to get the same job done that they were doing before. So what does this mean practically? I think first and foremost, it means that healers, GCDs are going to be taxed when they're trying to deal damage. So I think that in, Mythic Plus in particular, let's just focus on Mythic Plus, my ability to deal damage in a Mythic Plus dungeon will be diminished because everybody is going to be taking more damage and they're going to have more health for me to heal up. So in a pull like this right here, I can get my Phaline down and I can just start spinning. This is a great pull for Mistweaver Monk, by the way. You can just kind of spin. But look at that guy taking damage right now. So that Warlock, he would be taking 25% more damage right now. He would probably be dead. He's sitting at almost 25% of his max HP. He would be dead right now if I didn't respond sooner. So instead of me sitting here and spinning and having fun dealing damage, I'd have to stop what I'm doing and focus triage healing him. I do end up putting a big bubble on him there. But that's the kind of situation we're talking about, where you're going to get into these kinds of situations where people are going to be taking a lot more damage. So I would be dead right now. I just took almost all my health and damage right there. I would have died from that. So what it's going to mean, I think, is that healers are going to have to spend more GCDs pressing healing spells instead of damage spells, and I think that's going to reduce our damage a little bit until we get used to like how the damage patterns are coming out and what they feel like. Until we get used to that, I think that realistically it's going to be a bit of a problem. So that's the first thing, is that we're going to lose some damage. I'm going to skip actually this boss because he's pretty boring. But the second thing I want to talk about, let me zoom ahead. Oh, too fast. There we go. Is I think that this is going to cause us to use more mana. So generally speaking, a lot of the healers, their DPS abilities don't actually cost a lot of mana. For example, on Mistweaver Monk here, like my Tiger Palm and my Blackout Kick, and I think my Rising Sun Kick. Rising Sun Kick might cost mana. Blackout Kick and Tiger Palm cost nothing, and they end up healing for quite a bit when I'm on my Phaline. So, it's just one of those things. Even my Spinning Crane Kick only costs about 2,500 mana. It's not that bad. Like, my Enveloping Mist, which is a healing spell for a Mistweaver, costs 12,000 mana. My Spinning Crane Kick costs 2,500 mana. So, see how different that is? Like, my DPS abilities cost very little, but my healing abilities cost more. If I'm going to have to spend more time healing people, I'm going to be spending a lot more mana. So, what does this mean? I think that it's going to incentivize healers to have to spec into some form of mana regeneration, which I think is actually a great change, because lots of healers have mana regeneration abilities in their kit, but they don't use them because nobody needs any mana. Like, we're so full on mana, it's ridiculous. And so I think this is really going to incentivize people to use things like Mana Tide Totem for Shaman, Mana Tea for Mistweaver Monk, Symbol of Hope for Priest, Innervate for Druid, Blessing of Winter for Paladin. Blessing of Winter, I think Paladin already uses it, but I think this is really going to incentivize players to actually use their mana regeneration abilities, which I think is a great change, because it's kind of boring to have these cool talents that can get you your mana back when you're not really spending mana. So, on one hand, I do think it's going to cost us more mana to just exist in a Mythic Plus environment or in a raid environment, but particularly Mythic Plus, because we're going to have to spend more of our mana on healing spells, which are more expensive. And therefore, as a result of that, we're going to have to use things like our mana regeneration abilities, which, kind of sucks, but it is what it is. I think that's actually an okay change. It's not the end of the world. My next point is that tanks, of course, are getting big survivability changes, and you can see it actually right here. I'll just bring this up again. If we scroll down a little bit, you can see Vengeance, healing by 25%, Feast of Souls, 25%, Maximum Storm of Revel in Pain, 25%, Hunt gives you more healing, Soul Fragments, more healing, Guardian Druid, Regrowth, Swiftman, Rejuve, all buffed, and then their actual tanking stuff. Protector of the Pack buff, Lunar Beam, you might use that now. Loon's Favorite healing went up, Brambles went up, the shield from Ursox went up quite a bit. Excuse me. Brewmaster Monk, Chi Burst healing, Chi Wave, Expel Harm, Staggering Strikes, Celestial Brew, Vivify healing, 92%. Holy crap. So, Prop Paladins, the same. Moment of Glory went up. Light of the Titans, Word of Glory, Flash of Light healing. So, all of the tanks essentially got buffed. I got wrecked here. And which means they're going to be able to live a bit like much better on their own, which is a good thing. Oh, what's going on here? That's a good thing. Tanks can survive on their own, so you'll probably have to spend less of your healing cooldowns on tanks because they're kind of coming up to par with the damage that's coming in from the monsters. So it's just a neutral change. It's like a net neutral change for tanks. They basically have no problems whatsoever. What is going on with this? It's struggling really hard right now. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, so it's just the healers that are going to have an issue. The tanks are not going to notice too much of a change really at all because they're coming up to par exactly with the damage that the monsters are going to be bringing out. Okay? So that's a good change for them. And then finally, off-healing is going to be buffed as well. I don't know, my video is just crashing right now, but we're going to look at that really quickly here. So you can see a lot of the off-healing, like I said before, I think priests and shamans and druids are going to have those big cooldowns. Vamp Embrace, Ancestral Guidance, Nature's Vigil. But other classes like Retribution Paladin, Word of Glory healing up by 50%. Flash of Light healing up by 50%. And you can buff that with Light Sterility. So they're nerfing Light Sterility a bit, but they're still making it 20%. So you're just getting Flash of Light healing is baseline 50% better now. And then if you take the Light Sterility, you get 20% more on top of that. So basically your Flash of Light will be 70% stronger if you take that combo. So again, a lot of these other DPS specs, Shadow Priest getting buffed to all their healing, Elemental Shaman and Enhancement Shaman getting buffed to their healing, all these other DPS specs are going to have massive off-healing, so they can actually take care of their own healing a little bit better if they want to, which is really great and means that healers don't have to spend as much time on them. So, again, a really nice thing. Maybe healers, maybe those extra specs will have a little bit more incentive to use their own healing spells rather than the healers having to just pump heals into them all the time. Now, again, of course, healers are going to be healing. Don't get me wrong, but I just think it's an interesting change that they're kind of making there. So, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below about this change. Do you think that this is a really, really bad change for healers? Do you think that it doesn't really matter? Personally, I think we're not going to notice too much of a difference. Your healing is going to be a little bit worse than it maybe was before. You're going to have to try a little bit harder to heal everybody. That's the main difference. You're going to spend a little bit more mana. You're going to have to spend a few more of your GCDs on healing spells rather than spending them on damage spells. Again, that's going to tax your mana a little bit more. And you're going to be a little bit less effective than you were before. But realistically, right now, I think that healers are just completely overpowered. So this change is completely fine. I don't think it's going to be a massive deal. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. If you are a healer, I would love to hear from you down there. Thank you so much again for watching, guys. I love you all. I will see you in the next one.